Tallahassee to gauge the repercussions of today's events. I'm joined by Jim Rosica of the Tallahassee Democrat newspaper. Jim, thank you for joining us this evening. Jim,
thank you, Greta.
Jim, tell me, first of all, one of the key witnesses that we expected to see today was Sandra Gord. Tell me who she is and why wasn't she there?
Well, that's a good question, one that I haven't been able to get answered yet. But Sandra Gord is the supervisor of elections for Seminole County. And right now, I think the lead of this story is that finally we've heard testimony from her, albeit it was read out loud in the courtroom, written testimony read out loud by another lawyer, of her admitting that she actually let in these Republican operatives to fill in the blanks, as it were, on hundreds and hundreds of Republican, not absentee ballots, but absentee ballot request cards that were in the Seminole County office.
Jim, does there seem to be any disagreement by the representatives of the Bush campaign, the defendants in this case? Does it seem to be any disagreement that the ballot applications that numbers were added to them, the registration numbers?
I think that everyone, as a matter of fact, has agreed to that. I guess the legal terminology is they've stipulated to that. No one's questioning the fact that this GOP worker by the name of Michael Leach and a second man who is still to be identified actually did go in there and add the voter identification numbers to the ballot cards where there were blanks. What we didn't really hear today was an explanation from her testimony of why she did that. We did hear, however, that she did not apparently offer the same courtesy to the Democrats as she did to the Republicans.
But did the Democrats have ballot application problems to begin with, or was it just a Republican application problem?
Apparently, from what we've been able to gather in the courtroom, this was solely a Republican problem that was apparently generated because there wasn't, I guess, the proper blank on the pre-printed card that they had mailed out to people. And so that's why the problems with the cards being blank were more with the cards that went to the registered Republicans than with the cards that went to the registered Democrats.
So how was there any disparate or different treatment for the Democrats compared to the Republicans if it wasn't a Democrat problem to begin with?
Well, I guess one of their points is just the fact that, as they said, the Democratic Party was not offered the same courtesy. They weren't given a phone call essentially saying, hey, we're doing the Republican Party a favor and letting these guys come in and fill in the blanks. Any of your cards that may have the same problem, we'll let you come in and do that also. Apparently, neither Ms. Gordon or her office did offer the same courtesy to anybody in the Democratic Party.
Jim, the defendants in the case wanted to get rid of the judge who's on the case, Judge Nikki Clark, and they failed to do that. What was her demeanor in the courtroom today?
I thought her demeanor, she was actually a little bit tougher, I thought, than Judge Sanders Sauls was in the contest trial over the weekend. She has she shocked us all at first by demanding that special muffling devices be placed over all the still cameras in the courtroom. She did not hesitate to cut off witnesses when she thought their answers were getting off track. And at one point, she even cut off a lawyer, bluntly saying, you've made your point now, haven't you?
Jim Rosica, thank you, the Tallahassee Democrat. Thank you for joining me this evening. Tonight, also joining me here in Washington is CNN election law analyst Ken Gross. He worked with the Federal Election Commission for nearly a decade.